Donald Trump has just backed out of a trade deal with Canada. Oh my giddy on, I sound like Alex Jones. Do excuse me, but I will continue. That's not InfoWars. Now, there's a trade deal that was being negotiated between Canada and the United States. But Donald Trump had a hissy fit. He's had a hissy fit, and he's just, instructed his trade negotiators to cease the talks with Canada over misinformation. Misinformation that Donald Trump has perpetrated again and again and again. He posted this on Truth Social. Anyway, please boot the old like button. If you want to support the channel, you can do it on Patreon or Buy Us Coffee. Links down below. It's much appreciated, it really is. Well, what can I say? We have just been informed, okay, Truth Social, that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact, which is not a fact, this is a lie, an outright lie, misinformation, I suppose, of us to be generous, that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. The 400% was, I can't remember what the limit was, but they never reached it anyway. If they went over a certain limit, there was a 400% tariff. They never, ever reached it. It's not even worth talking about. It's just a protection, okay, for the Canadian farmers. And it's been there for such a long, long time. It shouldn't even really be an issue. Now, and on dairy products, and has just announced that they will be putting a digital services tax on American technology companies. It's not just American technology companies, it's going to be anyone, but they're all American, to be fair. And the fact is, that also has been on the cards for a long time. So it's not just announced. A digital services tax is something that needs to be done. And certain companies, such as Meta, Facebook, have removed advertising on the Facebook platform in Canada. I'm sure you're quite grateful for that, Canadians, anyway. Why the heck would we want Facebook manipulated advertising, especially after Mark Zuckerberg made that statement, where he said that, we've been too, it hasn't worked, so all of a sudden we're going to do community notes, we're going to leave you to police yourselves. That's all very well, but it doesn't work on Twitter. No. Okay, X, what we like to call it these days. He goes on, all right? A digital service tax on American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. And they are obviously copying the European Union. Well, they're not, because we've all been talking about it for years. This isn't new. Which has done the same thing, and is currently under discussion with us. Also, based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada. He's like a bull in a china shop, isn't he? He really is. Effective immediately, and we will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention. Why does he always end it? It always ends up with this, right? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Oh, for Christ's sake, this man is insufferable. He's horrendous. The first thing I'd like to say, elbows up. And I do actually admire Canadians' steed, I do. Mark Carney and his crew and the Canadian people they've stood their ground. They've boycotted American products, and I don't blame them. And all this is going to do is actually going to reinforce that initiative to boycott American products. That's all Donald Trump has achieved with this. The man he's a madman. Now, I've said in previous videos, I'm going to say it again. You cannot even engage with a trade deal with Donald Trump on anything, not in trade. Securities and stuff, that may be. But not on trade. This is just madness. Donald Trump is not to be trusted. How many times you got to say that? He negotiated a trade deal with the United Kingdom and went back on it. Because of Tata Steel. You can only do a trade deal, right, when there's trust and there's rule of law. But Donald Trump just disregards all laws. The international laws, why should they? He'd be bothered with them. The international, not us. Well, of course it is. You can only trade with a country that has jurisdiction and a country that believes in maintaining it. Is that so difficult to understand? It's the same with the United Kingdom and the Brexit deal. They said we don't want no jurisdiction at all from the European Court of Justice, they said. Well, how can they have a deal with us if there's no adjudicating body? If there's no one there to make sure that you're abiding by the actual deal you just signed? In this case, with the United States, that'd be like international law, but Donald Trump just keeps... You can't trust him. He will drag you through the courts for years. Meanwhile, you ain't got a deal. Your deal's worth diddly squat. It's pointless. The quicker we realise and accept that doing trade with the United States, either you're just going to have to do tit-for-tat tariffs and just suffer and find new markets. That's all you can do. The manufacturing sector in Canada is down because of these tariffs. Car manufacturing is down because of these tariffs. Car parts down because of these tariffs. He's literally trying to stranglehold Canada. And most probably to make it so it submits into being the 51st state. Donald Trump is actively trying to destroy Mark Carney's premiership. That's what he's doing. But in fact, really what's happening is the Canadian people aren't stupid. Not like some of those Americans. I'm sorry, not all of them, but some of them. 32% of them, probably, of the voting public. They understand the situation they're in. They can see for themselves what Donald Trump is doing and how he's deliberately trying to hurt Canada. Probably all just so he can weaken it. To try and work on that crazy totalitarian concept of making Canada 51st state. He wants to control everything. He thinks he can stranglehold everybody. You have to deal with a bully head on. That's always the case. There's no fluffing. All that fluffing that was going on by Mark Rutte in NATO. Oh my God, I felt I was going to throw up. In NATO, all that thinking fluff, all that going on there, it means nothing. You get back home or on that plane, and he says, oh, I don't like that. And all of a sudden there'll be another tariff or something else he doesn't like. Or he'll make something vicious and fictitious common. Based on fiction, basically. Now, Canada, your manufacturing sector is down. I get that. That is a worry. A massive worry. But also, because the dollar is sliding down into the fucking merry hole of shit. It's a drop toilet. It's... the Canadian dollar's actually gone up by 0.7%. And Canada, you also got to realise that it hasn't stopped and it isn't going to stop. You see, what the Americans are not ready for is China de-dollarisation. They are shedding the dollar, the bonds, American bonds, US bonds. They're shedding, not American bonds, US bonds, they're shedding them. They're getting rid of them. Bit by bit by bit by bit. And every time they do that, they're weakening the dollar by flooding the market. Japan's doing the same, and they got they had 1.1 or 1.3 trillion in bonds. The United States economy is taking a real devilish turn. It's just... And it's going to get worse. You see, no one's going to want to trade with you, in the United States, that is, because no one feels safe anymore. American citizens have been dragged off the street now. Canadians in in Florida, in a Florida detention centre, a Canadian guy, I think it's a guy, actually I haven't read the story properly yet, I've read a headline, I've seen the headline, sorry, I do apologise. I will look into that one, I will make a video about it. He died in the detention centre in the United States. This stuff should be everywhere. I'm sure it's in the Canadian news, but you know, why aren't we talking about it? We're not talking about it because Donald Trump floods the zone. There are so many dead cats coming in from all different directions, we're not paying attention to the detail. All we're seeing is the headline. Like Mark Rutte saying, or calling Donald Trump daddy, even though he denied it. I've been through it several times, he's definitely said daddy. Oh my God. It's painful. You watch them all sucking up to him. So how desperate we are to hold on to their military support. It doesn't mean anything though. He ain't any more to be trusted with Article 5 as he was a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Because you can't trust anything he says or does. The only thing you can trust about Donald Trump, he is chaos incarnate and evil incarnate as well. He's just literally throwing everything up in the air, and all the countries and NATO members are just on all fours, scrambling for the crumbs. We need to grow up here. Seriously. Like I said a minute ago, you have to deal with bullies head on. And if you don't, they become a bigger bully. Donald Trump needs to be told that his tactics aren't working. He needs to see for himself his tactics aren't working. We need to stand against him. We need to deny him. We need to ostracise him. Because there's no way forward while we're still talking to Donald Trump as though there's going to be some kind of trade deal. There's going to be a trade deal, yes. But it means nothing. It's worthless. Worthless. Yes, the United States has 350 million people. And like the Brexit argument, which is bloody ridiculous considering the European Union is our largest trading partner, or closest trading partner in the UK. But just like Brexit, there are other countries. There are other very rapidly developing countries that don't make their own stuff. Let them buy your stuff. And especially if you're making components and stuff like that to build up, make yourself, in fact, valuable. You can't do it. It's invaluable. Yeah, you can't do away without you. The United States can't do without Canada, and yet he's trying to damage Canada. So damage them. And that's what you're doing in many ways in Canada. And to be fair, the Canadians have shown the biggest resolve in standing up to the bully. That I cannot disagree with. But you're going to have to go cold turkey. It looks desperate for a start. It has very little or no value whatsoever with Donald Trump in power. You can't even send your delegates there to the country because you don't know whether or not they're going to get arrested. You can't even go on holiday there to the United States now. You know? So you can't send your delegates to the United States. You can't send your holiday mates can't visit there. without some risk that wasn't there before. All because of Donald Trump and his immigration policies, and then he got all this trade upset. You're going to have to stand up to him. I know it's hard. I know it's going to be tough, and there's going to be certain things you aren't going to be able to pull away from regarding some elements of security and negotiation. The fact that obviously, you know, they've got all the F-35s and stuff like that you might have. You might need software updates. That sort of thing you're going to have a lot of choice about until you manage to replace them, if you do. But still, Donald Trump is literally destroying the world. That's what he's doing. The world's economy, and everybody, including Americans, are going to suffer because of it. Well, let's let them suffer on their own. Apart from the good Americans that didn't vote for this feckin' nincompoop. Give them some, give them sanctuary. They need sanctuary. Oh dear, I can't imagine what you're going through. If you're an American who don't agree with Donald Trump, didn't vote for Donald Trump, well then, you've got all my sympathy. I just can't imagine what you're going through at the moment. It's disgraceful. And you're heading for civil war. You really are. There's only so much of this shit that you can take before you take matters into your own hands. There just is. It's always been the case. The French did it. You did it. Independence Day. Anyway, what do you reckon? Please click the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel, little bell icon, because I'm only going to say it as I say it. And I hope you appreciate that I won't lie to you. I might make mistakes, but I won't lie to you. And I don't edit these videos generally, so if I have made an error, please correct me. Anyway, comments down below. But if you want to support the channel, you can do it on Patreon or buy us coffee, and the links down below. But there's also memberships and super thanks and stuff like that as well. And you see, without your support, the channel, it'll just disappear because it, you know, like anybody, we all have to live, don't we? And for me, it's a case of either I spend time on this or I spend time on something else. I just feel compelled. I keep coming back to this because I feel it's important. It's frightening what's going on at the moment. Anyway, you tell me. Please leave in the comments down below. And have a lovely weekend.